Hey guys, so the month of June is Pride month, and to celebrate we're going to make some rainbow cookies. So we've got 170 grams of butter, 150 grams of dark brown sugar, 100 grams of just normal caster sugar, a teaspoon and a half of vanilla. We've got 2 eggs. We're going to use the yolk from one and the whole egg of the other. And then in here I've got half a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of corn flour. It says cornstarch on the recipe, and also a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda, and it says baking soda on the recipe. Then I've got 265 grams of plain flour, and I've got M&Ms to make it rainbow. So I might not use all of the M&Ms, but the first step, oh, and I've also got a hand mixer. The first step we're going to do is we're going to basically cream this butter so it goes much paler and much fluffier, and it'll just make it like kind of thin, and then we'll put the sugar into it. So using a hand mixer and a big bowl, you can do this by hand, it'll just take a bit longer. And we're just going to really slowly just start to cream this together. So what I've done is I've whipped the butter together so it's much paler now, and then I'm going to add in the caster sugar and the dark brown sugar, and I'm going to cream it all together for another minute. So now in there we've got the dark brown sugar, the caster sugar and the butter. And again we're just going to mix it all together. Okay, so now we have the sugars and the butter all mixed together, and it's got a bit paler than it looked. So what we're now going to start doing is adding some of the wet ingredients. So we're going to add the vanilla, one of the egg yolks and the whole egg as well. So to separate an egg, what you do is you crack it. I'm just going to do it into the little bowl just because it means if I do break the yolk it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to crack it open. And then once I've got it open, I'm going to keep it upright and let the white fall out. And then I'm going to use the other half of the shell, and I'm just going to pour the egg yolk back and forth. And what will happen is you'll end up with your egg whites in this bowl, which keep, by the way, because you can make meringues and things like that. So then I've got just the egg yolk in these 2 shells. And then I'm going to go in with the egg yolk. And then I'm going to go in with the, crack it in half and go in with another whole egg. So that's 1 egg yolk and 1 whole egg, and the vanilla. Just going to scrape down the sides. Make sure we're mixing it all in. So we now have our mixture, and I'm going to put this away now because I'm going to do the rest by hand, just because sometimes these machines don't do very well with it. What we're going to do is, into the flour that we've got, we're going to add our salt, bicarbonate of soda and corn flour, just so that's all together. So that's our dry ingredients. And then we're going to put all of that into our mixture, and straight away we're going to put our M&Ms as well. I just used all of them. So now we've got a wooden spoon, so we've got everything in there now. So we mixed the butter and sugars together, then we added our wet ingredients, so an egg yolk and an egg and vanilla, and then we've added the rest of our dry ingredients, so the flour, bicarbonate of soda, salt, corn flour and our M&Ms. And we're just going to mix that together until we get a dough, and then that's the dough done. Okay, so we now have our dough. That is cookies. All we need to do now is bake it, but this is the hard bit. What we've got to do is we've got to put it in the fridge and leave it for at least 2 hours. What that does is it allows all the moisture to get into the flour and hydrates the flour. It also allows all the flavours to just get a bit nicer and mix together, so you get a much nicer cookie. You can do it now, but what will happen is probably when you put it in the oven, all of the butter just melts out of it really quickly, and you'll end up with a flat kind of like sad cookie. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that in the fridge for at least 2 hours. You could do this the day before, you could do it a few days before, so you've just got the dough in the fridge, sorry. But we're gonna have to let it rest in the fridge. You can make it into balls now and then put them in the fridge, but it takes up more space, so I'm just gonna put the whole bowl in and then work with it in 2 hours time. So I'll come back in about 2 hours time and then we'll bake them. Okay, so this has been in the fridge for about 2 hours. Like I say, the longer you leave it, the nicer it'll probably be because all the flavours all really mixed together. But I just want to bake them now. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to take small little handfuls and we're going to do them all the same size. So I'm just going to make sure I get a few and then I'm just going to do them that size. You can do them any size you want, but just try and make sure that they're all the same size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all this and then we'll be back. Okay, so I've rolled out all of the cookies into balls and I've put 6 on each baking sheet because they do spread out quite a lot. So what I'm going to do, these are going to go in the oven at 180 degrees for about 10 to 12 minutes or until the sides start to look a bit darker brown. The middle will still be really soft and then we're going to let them cool and then we'll be able to eat them. So 180 for 10 to 12 minutes. I did make more than this, but what I've done is I've balled them up and I've put them back in the fridge to make sure that they stay cold. So I'll cook these now and then we'll have a look. Okay, so I've taken the cookies out of the oven. They have spread out a bit. These two have merged together a little bit. They are very, very, very hot. So what we're going to do is we're going to let them cool completely down on these baking trays and then we'll eat them. So we've let the cookies cool down completely. So now all we have to do is try them. So you can see all the M&Ms poking through there. It's really good. Like, it's soft, but then like a little bit crunchy. It's well nice. If you want to help celebrate Pride with us, please make these cookies, make the rainbow fruit skewers that we put out the other day, and send us pictures of how you're celebrating Pride this month. So send them to either seb.walker@threecirclesfostering.com or charlotte.andrew@threecirclesfostering.com.